Once upon a time there lived an old man and an old woman in a small house on the edge of the forest. Everything in their life was arguing, only one thing was missing: the old man and the old woman did not have children. Once the old man asked to bake a gingerbread in the shape of a little man. The old woman looked into the barn, and there was almost no flour left. She took a bowl, scrubbed it along the box, swept it along the bottom, and a handful of 2 handfuls of flour gathered. The old woman kneaded the dough with sour cream, and when she was rolling out a gingerbread on the table, she took it and made it in the shape of a little man with arms, legs, with a head, and put it in the oven. After a while, the old woman came up to see if the gingerbread was baked, took it and put it on the window to cool. The gingerbread man cooled down, lay down, but suddenly got up and ran as fast as possible out of the house, from the window to the bench, from the bench to the floor, across the floor, and to the doors, jumped over the threshold to the porch, from the porch to the courtyard, from the courtyard to the gate, farther and farther. The old woman called her husband, and they both rushed after him. But it's not so easy to catch the gingerbread man. Now, he has already reached the field where the peasants were threshing their crops. Running past, the gingerbread man shouted at them that he had already run away from the old woman and the old man, and he would easily run away from them too. The peasants heard this and ran after him. But no matter how fast they ran, they could not catch up with him. A gingerbread man ran up to the field where the mowers were mowing the grass. Running past, he shouted to them that he had already run away from the old woman, and from the old man, and from the peasants, and he would easily run away from them too. The mows could not stand such ridicule. Everyone rushed after the gingerbread man. They run as fast as they can, but they cannot catch up. And towards the little man the cow is walking, he shouted to her that he had already run away from the old woman, and from the old man, and from the peasants, and from the mowers, and he would easily run away from her too. The cow got angry, and also rushed after the gingerbread man. Only he cannot catch up. And to meet him a pig. The little man shouted that he had already fled from the old woman, and from the old man, and from the peasants, and from the mowers, and from the cow, and he would easily run away from her too. A pig screeched and ran after. Only she could not catch up, she was too fat. A gingerbread man runs along the road, and a hare meets him. The little man said that he had already run away from the old woman, and from the old man, and from the peasants, and from the mowers, and from the cow, and from the pig, and he would easily run away from him too. The hare heard this and ran after him. Nor can he catch up with the little man, only the hare saw him. A gingerbread man runs, and a wolf meets him. "I will eat you," says. And the little man answered him that he had already fled from the old woman, and from the old man, and from the peasants, and from the mowers, and from the cow, and from the pig, and from the hare, and he would easily run away from him too. The wolf growled and rushed at the gingerbread man, and he dodged and ran as fast as he could. Only the wolf saw him. A gingerbread man is running, and a huge bear is meeting him. His little man was not afraid, but shouted that he had already fled from the old woman, and from the old man, and from the peasants, and from the mowers, and from the cow, and from the pig, and from the hare, and from the wolf, and he would easily run away from him too. A ferocious bear stamped his foot and ran after him. But the bear was too slow to catch up with the fast gingerbread man. A gingerbread man runs, and a fox meets him. The fox was very cunning, but the little man did not know this. Therefore, out of habit, he began to shout that he had already fled from the old woman, and from the old man, and from the peasants, and from the mowers, and from the cow, and from the pig, and from the hare, and from the wolf, and from the bear, which means he will easily run away from her too. The fox listened to the end, and said that she was very old, did not hear anything. She came closer to the little man and asked him to repeat it. Obeyed her silly gingerbread man and began to brag again. The fox listened to the end and said that she still did not hear anything. She came even closer to the little man and asked him to repeat it again. The gingerbread man agreed, and then only he started anew when the fox pounced on him and ate it. And the gingerbread man no longer bragged about.
A long time ago, in the desert kingdom of Agrabah, there lived a poor guy Aladdin with his monkey Abu. To survive, he had to steal food from the market. But despite this, Aladdin was kind and honest, because he handed out everything stolen to starving children. One day, while walking through the city, Aladdin noticed how an apple merchant was threatening a young girl. She gave an apple to the child without asking, and now she had to pay. Seeing that the seller called the guards, Aladdin decided to save the girl. He took her hand and helped her hide. But the guards still caught up with the fugitives. And it turned out that the girl Aladdin saved was Princess Jasmine. The guards imprisoned the guy in a dungeon. That same night, the evil advisor of the Sultan Jafar made his way to his cell. He promised untold riches if Aladdin helped him get him a magic lamp from the Cave of Wonders. And Aladdin agreed. Jafar took the guy with the monkey to the cave, but in front of the entrance forbade him to touch anything except the lamp. In the cave, Aladdin found a magic carpet and a lamp. But Abu could not stand the prohibition and touched one of the rubies. The cave began to collapse. Then the magic carpet caught them and flew away to the ruins of the ruined castle. Aladdin looked for a long time at the lamp that he had brought with him from the Cave of Wonders. She was very dusty. When Aladdin wiped the lamp with his hand, Jinn burst out of it. He announced to Aladdin that he had been in the lamp for many years, and for his salvation he could fulfill any 3 wishes. Aladdin promised to use only 2 wishes, and the third to free Jinn from the lamp forever. Looking at the stars, Aladdin remembered the princess. He fell in love with Jasmine, but an ordinary thief could not impress the princess. Then Aladdin spent his first wish to become a prince. Arriving at the palace to the Sultan, Aladdin in the guise of a prince tried to win the heart of Jasmine. But the princess was adamant, because she had long fallen in love with the commoner who saved her at the bazaar. Meanwhile, Jafar noticed the false prince in the palace. The evil advisor tricked the guy into the tower, and with threats began to elicit where the magic lamp was.
No.
Receiving no answer, Jafar pushed him from the high tower into the sea. Suddenly, Abu flew in with a lamp on the rug, and Aladdin managed to rub it. Then Jinn appeared and saved them, thereby using the second wish. Back at the palace, Aladdin told the Sultan that Jafar is an evil wizard who is about to betray the kingdom. The Sultan arrested his advisor, but under cover of night the sorcerer managed to get out of the dungeon. He made his way into Aladdin's chambers and stole the lamp, becoming Jinn's new owner. Jafar spent his first desire to become a sultan. And with the second desire, he requested the power of the most powerful wizard in the world. Having received his, Jafar magically transported the guy with the monkey to the icy wasteland. And he decided to force Princess Jasmine to marry himself. While the wedding ceremony was going on, the magic carpet found out where Aladdin and Abu were, and then returned them to the castle. Seeing Jafar, Aladdin began to tease him, calling him the second in power after Jinn. Then an angry Jafar spent his last wish to become an almighty genie. Turning into a genie, Jafar suddenly became a slave to the lamp himself. Weakening, he promised Aladdin revenge. But before he could finish his curses, the lamp pulled him inside. Jinn carried Jafar's lamp to the Cave of Wonders, and order was restored to the kingdom. Aladdin decided to keep his promise, so he spent his third wish to free Jinn from the lamp forever. And the Sultan, who saw that Aladdin and Jasmine were in love, allowed them to get married. And they lived happily ever after, and the kingdom of Agrabah only prospered over the years.